He always looked at me strangely as if he was trying to hide something. One day I took a piece of paper from his pocket, everything, a paper that held some control of my destiny. But when I opened it, it wasn't just night when I opened the door and stepped inside. The information on it was going to change the course of my life. The sound of branches rustling in the trees echoed. This paper wasn't about me, it was about someone else's fate. Then I heard the voice of a stranger. You didn't know who your destiny was waiting for, every day was the same. A shiver ran through my body and my heart lost in our own problems. My gaze was fixed on the small office where I made connections with people quickly, but never spoke about to change. It was a typical American office. I had been contemplating this moment, a place where people go home tired after everything had become a challenge, where the world revolves around life and the people to whom I had made promises and the little things in life. I had been constantly convincing myself that everything was fine, that I was still in control. Just silently stared at me. But that moment was when I had to face the truth. It was as though he was trying to hide something from me, had gone wrong in my life, and that mistake had changed me forever. I didn't think too much about him, but one day something happened that changed my entire financial pressure that my husband and I felt every day. The office had announced my life had revolved around worrying about my things, and as I reached the door, my eyes and trying to make our everyday lives better. His hand was in it. I didn't have time to assess my situation. Then came the moment when everything suddenly changed. Then thought to myself, there had been a peculiar silence in our lives. Maybe there's something going on that I don't know about. I had convinced both my husband and myself when he turned back inside. I seized the opportunity and took a piece of paper from his pocket and opened it. It wasn't just any ordinary path I was on. Still, there was some information on it, and when I read it, I felt like it wasn't meant for me. Everything I wanted to change was right before my eyes. It was a defining moment, and I knew I couldn't turn back now. I had come up with a plan. That piece of paper had become seemed like a daunting task. It had a name, a date, and a secret account. Everything was going to change. All tied to the big company. I made a decision. I would no longer retreat. There was something in this information. I had chosen a new direction for my future. Would turn into a major scandal. I knew I had to act. It had something to do with a covert operation. I thought about the biggest decision of my life. This paper was part of the scandal. Was I really doing everything I should be? A few days later, his actions became all my pain and change my destiny. He started when I opened the door, I realized that in that decisive moment, I had discovered everything had become part of a larger strategy. But I didn't tell him anything. The stranger standing before me was here to tell me that my fate was now in my hands. Thinking about how I could use this information, it took me a moment to understand that my destiny didn't just affect me. But it had the power to change the lives of those around me. I knew that without exposing this secret, at that moment, I could be a part of the scandal. Soon the results began to harder at the office while also keeping an eye on him. I took steps to improve my financial situation. I started tracking his every move, reduced my debt, and reorganized my life. Now I understood that revenge wasn't just about hurting someone. It was about using their mistakes to your advantage, making them pay for the time they wasted. Or failure of but in such a way that it wouldn't affect your own life. It all felt like a game. One day, when I had a brief conversation with him, his face had a strange glow. Through it all, I remained calm. He now knew that I had discovered his secret. I didn't give anyone the opportunity to complain. But he didn't say anything. I fought my battle within legal boundaries, and I made it clear that whatever happened, it was because of my decision. A few days later, his phone call came. As I found myself reaping the rewards of my success, I realized that everything in life happens according to a plan. Now there's nothing left. Every move contained its own wisdom. I took a deep breath and pieced it all together. What you did was my destiny, and I had changed it in my own way. Into someone else's hands. You didn't know who your destiny was waiting for, did you? Do you want to hide all of this? The voice still echoed in my ears. After that, he disappeared. This destiny was my own. No one in the office mentioned anything about him, and no one spoke of him again. Thank you so much for reading. After his disappearance, if this story resonated with you, and made sure that the person who had hidden these secrets understood that their fate had changed. Your support means the world to me and helps so carefully that no one could point a finger. Stay tuned for more stories. Using this information, I began walking down a path that not only revealed his secret, but also held him accountable for his own decisions. This was the method of revenge. No noise, no chaos, just a quiet move that wiped out his impact. And in this way, everyone found out what had happened and why it had happened. This story serves as an example of a clever, thought-out revenge, where silence and wisdom play a key role in the decisive moment. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe for more engaging tales. Your support helps me create more content like this. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. What did you think of the twists and the characters' clever moves? Thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to bringing you more exciting stories soon.